Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Maria Albina Michael, and with me is Anuja Kumar with the midday news. The headlines. Reserve Bank of India announces bi-monthly monetary policy. Key policy rates remain unchanged. Air version of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile test fired successfully at Chandipur in Odisha. India is making a transition towards an offensive defence, says Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary. President Ramnath Kovind presents the President's Standard to the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron of Indian Navy in Mumbai. Internet in India is always open, safe and trusted and accountable for all Indians, informs Electronics and Information Technology Minister in Lok Sabha. National vaccination coverage crosses 129 crore 54 lakh mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.36%. NASA selects Indian origin physician Anil Menon as one of the astronauts for future missions. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the new corona variant is a cause of concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011-239-78046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. The Reserve Bank of India today maintained status quo in key policy rates as the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, voted unanimously to keep the policy repo rate at 4% to keep the stance accommodative. While announcing the bi-monthly policy, RBI Governor Shaktikant Das said marginal standing facility MSF rate and bank rate will remain unchanged at 4.25%. Reverse repo rate will also remain unchanged at 3.35%. He said recent reductions in excise duty and state VAT on petrol and diesel should support consumption demand by increasing purchasing power. While expressing satisfaction about the momentum to the economy, Mr. Das said government consumption is also picking up from August, providing support to aggregate demand. He said that the projection for real gross domestic product GDP growth is retained at 9.5% in 2021-22, consisting of 6.6% in the third quarter and 6% in the fourth quarter.
The NSO's release on 30th November confirmed that the recovery of Indian economy is gaining traction, with real GDP growth at 8.4% year-on-year for Q2 21-22 and subsequent to 20.1% in the preceding quarter, that is in Q1 of this year. All components of GDP registered year-on-year growth, with exports and imports strongly surpassing their pre-COVID levels.
RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das has made an important announcement about the Unified Payment Interface Facility while announcing the 4th bi-monthly policy review in Mumbai today. He said that in order to further deepen digital payments and make them more inclusive, it is proposed to launch UPI-based payment products for feature phone users. The move is expected to ease transactions for consumers, facilitate greater participation of retail customers in various segments of financial markets, and enhance the capacity of service providers.
In order to further deepen digital payments and make them more inclusive, ease transactions for consumers, facilitate greater participation of retail customers in various segments of the financial markets, and enhance the capacity of service providers, it is proposed to launch UPI-based payment products for feature phone users, leveraging on innovative products from the Reserve Bank's regulatory sandbox on retail payments. 2. Make the process flow for small value transactions simpler through a mechanism of on-device wallet in UPI transactions. And 3. Enhance the transaction limit for payments through UPI for retail direct scheme for investment of G6 and IPO offering applications from the current limit of rupees 2 lakhs to rupees 5 lakhs.
A version of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile was successfully test-fired from the supersonic fighter aircraft Sukhoi 30 Mark 1 from Integrated Test Range Chandipur off the coast of Odisha today. In this copybook flight, the missile launched from the aircraft followed the pre-planned trajectory meeting all mission objectives. The launch is a major milestone in the BrahMos development. It clears the system for the serial production of air version BrahMos missiles within the country. Major airframe assemblies which form the integral part of the ramjet engine are indigenously developed by Indian industry. These include non-metallic airframe sections comprising ramjet fuel tank and pneumatic fuel supply system. During the test, the structural integrity and functional performance have been proven. The air version of BrahMos was last flight tested in July 2021. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh praised the Defence Research and Development Organisation, BrahMos, Indian Air Force and the industry on the successful test firing. Air Force Chief Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary today said that India is making a transition from fighting a predominantly defensive war to adopting a more aggressive approach for an offensive defense under the nuclear umbrella. Speaking at a function in New Delhi, the Air Chief Marshal stressed on the need to reassess strategic priorities and realign actions to ensure that India does not get left behind. He said country's security scenario is influenced by unstable neighbours with unsettled borders, which could be a flashpoint in the future. The Air Chief Marshal said in the future, India could be attacked from all fronts, starting from economic strangulation to diplomatic isolation and military standoffs to info blackouts in the form of attack by a distributed denial of services. He said there is a need to prepare for the full spectrum. The IAF chief said Pakistan is unlikely to shed its Kashmir-oriented strategy and will continue to sponsor terrorism. He said Pakistan Armed Forces have formulated a new concept of war fighting and has acquired and equipped itself with latest technology, aircraft, and upgrade its defense capabilities. President Ramnath Kovind today presented the President's Standard to the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron, also known as the Killer Squadron of the Indian Navy, in Mumbai. Nishan Adhikari Lieutenant Yudhi Soha received the standard from the President. It is the highest honour bestowed by the Supreme Commander to a military unit in recognition of service rendered to the nation. In his address, the President congratulated all officers and sailors associated with the squadron for achieving this feat.
I would like to congratulate all officers and sailors associated with the squadron for achieving this feat. I compliment you for the impressive parade and impeccable turnout.
Mr. Kovind said the timing of this award could not have been more befitting as our nation is celebrating Swarnim Vijay Varsh. The emerging geopolitical challenges in the Indo-Pacific region present India with an opportunity to play a pivotal role. Appreciating the Indian Army, Mr. Kovind said,
The Indian Navy has invested significant effort in meeting all regional commitments and furthering our engagements with partners in the Indo-Pacific. Indian Navy has also been at the forefront to render assistance to the people during humanitarian crisis or natural disasters within the country and beyond. The Navy played a critical role in repatriation of Indian citizens during COVID-19 and rescue operations during Cyclone Taukte. I congratulate all of you for your untiring efforts in providing relief and hope to the people facing calamity, distress and hostile situations.
To mark the occasion, a special day cover was also released by the Postal Department. Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Chief of Naval Staff Admiral R. Hari Kumar and other dignitaries were present for the ceremony. The Indian Navy was awarded the President's Colours on 27th of May 1951 by the then President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The President's Standard is the same honour as the President's Colours awarded to a relatively smaller military formation or unit.
President Ramnath Kovind will address a program on the occasion of Human Rights Day on the 10th of this month being organized by the National Human Rights Commission in New Delhi. Human Rights Day is observed on 10th of December every year. It is the day the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Vice Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General C.P. Mohanty, today proceeded on a 2-day visit to Qatar. Ministry of Defence has said that during the visit, the Vice Chief will take forward the excellent defence cooperation between Qatar and India through multiple meetings with senior functionaries of the Qatari security establishment. The Vice Chief is scheduled to call on the Minister of State for Defence Affairs, Chief of Staff, Qatar Armed Forces, Commander of Qatar Emiri Land Forces, and the Commandant of Ahmed bin Mohammed Military College, where he will exchange ideas on issues of mutual interest.
Over 129 crore 54 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. India's active caseload currently stands at 93,733, which is lowest in 555 days. Active cases account for less than 1% of the total cases. The recovery rate is currently at 98.36%. In all, 8,439 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The Union Government has said that more than 139 crore COVID vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far. Health Ministry today said that over 19 lakh unutilized vaccine doses are still available with the states and UTs to be administered.
In our live bilingual phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series last evening, Dr. Neeraj Nischal of AIIMS New Delhi spoke about symptoms of new variants of coronavirus. He said there is no clear-cut evidence that existing vaccines are ineffective against new variants.
देखिए, जो अलग लक्षण की जब हम बात करते हैं, कोई भी वायरल इन्फेक्शन में बिल्कुल यही लक्षण आते हैं जो कि कोविड-19 में आते हैं। जहां तक ओमाइक्रॉन की भी बात है, तो कुछ स्पेसिफिक अलग जो सिम्टम्स हैं जो बिल्कुल ये बताए कि नहीं ये ओमाइक्रॉन ही हो सकता है, ऐसा कोई अभी तक डिफाइन नहीं किया गया है। जो लक्षण है, अलग अलग तरह के लक्षण डिस्क्राइब किए गए हैं। कुछ लोग कह रहे हैं कि बहुत ही माइल्ड सिम्टम्स हो रहे हैं, कुछ कह रहे हैं कि सिर दर्द हो सकता है, मरीज को बॉडी एक भी हो रहे हैं। तो बेसिकली ये जो वायरल इलनेस के जो सिम्टम्स हैं वही और लेस इसमें भी हो रहा है, कुछ अलग नहीं हो रहा है। अभी जो हाई रिस्क लोग उन्हीं को बता रहे हैं जो कि ऐसे कंट्रीज से ट्रेवल करके आ रहे हैं जहां पे ऑलरेडी ओमाइक्रॉन का जो खतरा है। तो ऐसे लोगों में अगर कोई पॉजिटिव आता है तो फिर हम उसको हाई रिस्क मान के उसको ओमाइक्रॉन लेबल कर सकते हैं, ताकि उसका जीनोटाइप करके हम देखें कि क्या ये वाकई ओमाइक्रॉन है।
In Spotlight, the News Services Division of All India Radio will bring you special year-ender program, A Salute to Corona Warriors, tonight at 9:15 p.m. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Anup Kumar, head of the Department of Urology at Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi, will be with us today at 9:30 p.m. onwards to answer the queries related to coronavirus. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free number 1800-115767. Repeat, 1800-115767, and on telephone number 011-2331-4444. Repeat, 011-2331-4444. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. These programs can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies. These programs will also be available on our website newsonair.nic.in and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Reserve Bank of India announces bi-monthly monetary policy. Key policy rates remain unchanged. Air version of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile test fired successfully at Chandipur in Odisha. India is making a transition towards an offensive defense, says Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary. President Ramnath Kovind presents the President's Standard to the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron of the Indian Navy in Mumbai. Internet in India is always open, safe and trusted and accountable for all Indians, informs Electronics and Information Technology Minister in the Lok Sabha. National vaccination coverage crosses 129 crore 54 lakh mark. Recovery rate stands at 98.36%. NASA selects Indian origin physician Anil Menon as one of the astronauts for future missions. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
An IAF Mi-17V5 helicopter with Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat on board met with an accident today near Kunnur, Tamil Nadu. According to IAF Twitter, an inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. The details are awaited. Minister for Communications and Electronics and Information and Technology Ashwini Vaishnav today said in the Lok Sabha that the procurement for 5G services is being done through trusted sources. He refused to take the name of any company. He was replying to a question of Manish Tiwari of Congress, who asked whether Huawei was asked to be a part of the 5G trial in India and whether the government has refused a permit. Mr. Vaishnav said spectrum for 5G technology trial has been assigned to various telecom service providers as per their request for their desired locations in the country. The minister said these locations include urban, semi-urban and rural areas in New Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Punjab, licensed service areas. In reply to another question, the minister said there is no proposal to provide free 4G mobile services across any of the states of the country.
Minister of Electronics and Information Technology Ashwini Vaishnav said that the government is committed to policies and actions that ensure that Internet in India is always open, safe and trusted and accountable for all Indians. Replying to questions in the Lok Sabha, the minister said with the expansion of Internet and more Indians coming online, the incidence of cyber crimes, including crimes against children online, are also increasing. Mr. Vaishnav said, as per the data published by the National Crime Records Bureau, a total of 306 cases of cybercrime against children were registered during 2019 and 1,102 such cases in 2020. The central government has taken measures in consultations with various stakeholders. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi has said people have already boycotted the opposition during the elections, particularly the Congress. He said if it keeps boycotting the parliament proceedings, it will lead to their further alienation from the public. Talking to media outside the parliament, Mr. Joshi said the opposition's misconduct in the Rajya Sabha was an unfortunate incident, adding the erring members have no regret for it.
राज्यसभा में इट इज सच अनफॉर्चुनेट इंसिडेंट. विधानसभा में भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. इतना दुर्व्यवहार ठीक नहीं है. राज्यसभा में मैंने ऑन रिकॉर्ड कहा हूं, अगर आप माफी मांगने के लिए आप रेडी होते हैं तो हम तुरंत सस्पेंशन वापस लेने के लिए तैयार है. वी डोंट वांट टू पास द बिल इन दिन. इसलिए मैं अभी भी उनको निवेदन करता हूं, आप माफी मांगिए, क्योंकि आपने बहुत बड़ा गलती की है तो मान लो कम से कम. अगर हम चाहते तो कल बिल पारित करते थे. वी वांट डिस्कशन, वी वांट कंस्ट्रक्टिव सजेशन. दे डोंट वांट. व्हाट कैन वी डू?
Mr. Prahlad Joshi said if the members apologize, then their suspension will be revoked with immediate effect. On the other hand, the BJP leader and Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said the opposition members have demeaned the dignity of the House of the Elders by their misconduct, and if they do not regret, then it will be unfortunate.
लोकतंत्र के मंदिर को शर्मसार करने के बावजूद भी अगर शर्मिंदगी कुछ लोग महसूस न करें तो इससे ज्यादा दुख की बात हो नहीं सकती. आपको सरकार से माफी मांगने के लिए नहीं कहा जा रहा है, किसी सियासी पार्टी से माफी मांगने के लिए नहीं कहा जा रहा है. संसद से माफी मांगनी है. उस संसद से माफी मांगनी है जिसको कि आपने अपनी उद्दंडता के कारण, हुड़दंग के कारण, हिंसा के कारण जो है उसकी गरिमा को, उसकी मर्यादा को तार-तार करने का षड्यंत्र और साजिश की है.
Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi today accused the BJP-led union government of selling the country's assets. She also alleged that the government was insensitive towards farmers and appealed to the party to honor the farmers who were killed during the protest. She also attacked the government on the issues of price rise and disinvestment of PSUs. Speaking at the Congress Parliamentary Party meeting, Ms. Gandhi said the suspension of the 12 suspended Rajya Sabha MPs was unprecedented and unacceptable. Minister for Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Giriraj Singh released the report titled Localization of Sustainable Development Goals SDGs through Panchayati Raj institutions yesterday. The minister appreciated the efforts of the expert committee for bringing out this informative report, which will serve as plan for action towards achieving the SDGs. In May this year, an expert group was constituted by the Ministry of Panchayati Raj to provide policy guidance to the ministry on localization of SDGs at the panchayat level.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today we pay homage to Bhai Parmanan, adorably called Bhaiji. Bhai Parmanan was an Indian freedom fighter born in Punjab. Since his childhood, Bhai Parmanan was inclined towards national integration as his family was associated with the Arya Samaj movement.
In October 1905, Parmanand visited South Africa and stayed with Mahatma Gandhi as a Vedic missionary. He was sent to the United States to coordinate the attempts by Indians overseas to help free the motherland. He was a founder member of the Ghadar Party. He wrote a book for the Ghadar Party called Tarikh-e-Hind.
When he returned to India, he was arrested in connection with Lahore conspiracy case. He was imprisoned in the cellular jail in Andaman until 1920 and subjected to extreme physical torture. The British King, George V, released him in 1920 as a result of a general amnesty order.
When Gandhiji started a national educational program, Bhai Parmanand was requested to give his full cooperation. Bhagat Singh was one of the students whom Bhai Parmanand had taught. Bhai Parmanand was also a caste abolitionist. He had started a caste elimination movement within Arya Samaj. Parmanand breathed his last on 8th of December 1947.
8th December is the birth anniversary of Amarnath Vidyalankar. Vidyalankar was a social worker and freedom fighter born in pre-partition Punjab in 1901. Vidyalankar was educated at an Arya Samaj educational institution.
After Vidyalankar completed his education, he plunged himself into the non-cooperation movement. When Lala Lajpat Rai founded the Servants of the People Society, Vidyalankar, along with Lal Bahadur Shastri, Balwant Rai Mehta and many others, became life members of the society.
Lala Lajpat Rai gave Vidyalankar the job of teaching history at Lahore National College, where Bhagat Singh and his associates were his students. After the closure of National College, Lala Lajpat Rai sent him to Hisar to assist famine victims in remote areas. In Haryana, he worked in the labour movement and in 1931 was sentenced to 2 years in jail for his editorial on the failure of the Round Table Conferences. He was also imprisoned for 2 years during the Quit India movement. During the communal clashes in 1947, he organized rescue squads for people. We pay tribute to the great son of soil, Amarnath Vidyalankar.
8th December is also the birth anniversary of Bal Krishna Sharma, Indian freedom activist and a poet of Hindi literature. Born in 1897 in Madhya Pradesh's Shahjahanpur district, he dropped out of college to join the freedom struggle.
In 1917, he came in contact with veteran journalist and editor of Pratap magazine, Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi. He became the editor of Pratap after the death of Vidyarthi ji in 1931. Sharma had been jailed by the British 6 times between 1921 and 1944, but this had little impact on him and he continued to contribute to the freedom movement.
सावधान मेरी वीणा में चिंगारियां आन बैठी हैं, कंठ रुका है महानाश का, मारक गीत रुद्ध होता है, आग लगेगी क्षण में हित्तल में, अब क्षुब्ध युद्ध होता है.
He was nominated to the Constituent Assembly from the United Provinces, now Uttar Pradesh.
Apart from his political work, Bal Krishna Sharma was also a renowned Hindi poet. He wrote poems with Naveen as his pen name. Some of his notable works include Kumkum and Urmila, among others. He was awarded Padma Bhushan for his contribution to the field of literature.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
स्वाधीनता संग्राम के वे निशान जो साक्षी हैं हमारे सेनानियों के संघर्ष और बलिदान के। आकाशवाणी समाचार ला रहा है विशेष श्रृंखला निशान। हर बुधवार को शाम 4:45 पर कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर।
In today's episode of Nishan, we will bring you Kakori ki Kahani, Akashvani ki Zubani.
Indian origin physician Anil Menon has been selected by the NASA along with 9 others to be astronauts for future missions. 45-year-old Menon, a lieutenant colonel at the U.S. Air Force, was SpaceX's first flight surgeon. He helped in launching first humans to space during NASA's SpaceX Demo 2 mission. Earlier, aeronautical engineer Sirisha Bandla in July became the third Indian origin woman to fly into space after Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital of Delhi is expected to have mainly clear sky. It recorded a minimum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum be around 24 degrees. Mumbai is also expected to have mainly clear sky. It noted a minimum temperature of 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 33 degrees. Chennai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. There will be not much change in temperature as it will vary between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky. The city noted a minimum temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, while maximum is expected to be around 25 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Reserve Bank of India announces bi-monthly monetary policy. Key policy rates remain unchanged. Air version of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile test fired successfully at Chandipur in Odisha. India is making a transition towards an offensive defense, says Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary. An IAF helicopter MiV-5 with Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat on board crashes in Nilgiris district in Tamil Nadu. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to brief Parliament on the crash. President Ramnath Kovind presents the President's Standard to the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron of Indian Navy in Mumbai. Internet in India is always open, safe and trusted and accountable for all Indians, informs Electronics and Information Technology Minister in Lok Sabha. And that is the end of this news bulletin.